Hello and welcome to the Can I Be Phished podcast. I'm Scott Wright here and I have a special guest today. It is Stuart Crawford. How are you doing, Stuart?
Scott, I can't complain. It's 80 something degrees here in Florida. Well, all my countrymen back home are freezing to death.
Yeah, that's me you're talking about. So up here in Canada, so I invited Stuart because he's got a really interesting business in Florida, working with tons of managed service providers, MSPs, and I'm going to let him do a little elevator pitch before we go into our traditional "Can I Be Phished" email analysis. So take it away, Stuart.
Hey, Scott. Thanks. Thanks everyone. Nice to virtually meet everyone. So I'll start off I'll give you the Coles Notes version. So that should tell you that I'm Canadian, using reference to Coles Note versus Cliff Notes.
Geez, I wouldn't have even noticed.
After a pretty short career in the Canadian military, where I got to learn my ADP skills back then. I got into the IT business and started an IT firm in Calgary back in 2001. Called IT Matters. We ran that company for a few years. A nice gentleman decided to buy my share of the company out, and I graciously took his offer and started Ulistic in 2010. Had no desire to work with MSPs at all. I was burnt out of the industry. I just wanted to change of pace. And then I got a phone call from a few guys I worked with through my HTG affiliation, and started doing some marketing work for HTG members. So Ulistic is an 11-year-old Canadian-born company, relocated to Florida 4 years ago.
Cool.
To escape the cold weather. We provide fully outsourced marketing services. And the easiest way to summarize it, Scott, for your fans and listeners today is think of it as managed services. Just instead of doing IT, we're doing marketing. So it's an all-you-can-eat marketing department outsourced. From websites to SEO to email to social media, you name it, we touch it, and we run the marketing department for all of our clients.
Oh, that's awesome. So can you share how many clients you've got, what they kind of tend to be doing?
Yeah, so we have a number. I can't, somewhere between 75 and 100. Somewhere in that ballpark range.
Yeah.
Most of them are going to be smaller MSPs between $1 million to $5 million. Although we do work with some that are sub 1 million. I don't really qualify prospects, and I teach my clients this, not to qualify on size, because a lot of MSPs say, well, we want to work with 5 to 25 or 25 or more.
Right.
I'll tell you this. So I worked for a company called Trident Exploration back in Calgary. When I walked in there, and I tell this story and I get chuckles, because us older guys, we'll be losing our hair, us guys that have been around for a while, they get it, because I walked into Trident Exploration's office. They were in the Fording Coal Building in Calgary, which is the oldest, slummiest office tower in downtown Calgary at the time. I think that and the building that we were in were the two oldest buildings at the time. I walked in there, and there was 3 gentlemen sitting around a coffee table with laptops. And I remember hearing this conversation. Hey, Paul, I need to print. Can you give me the printer cable? And they plugged it into the back of their laptop, and this big LaserJet 4SI printers on the floor.
Yeah.
And this guy went to print, and the lights dimmed in the office. That's
wow.
Oh, most MSPs would walk away from that. They would say, I'm not even touching that. But I did some research, and I found out these 3 gentlemen ran big oil companies in the past. So I took a gamble on them and just instead of doing managed services, I did break fix for them. Because a lot of people would say no to break fix. I said, I'll take it. No problem. I'll take it. How much work would they really need?
Yeah.
Anyway, Trident Exploration turned out to be 350 employees when we handed it off to an internal IT department.
Nice. That's cool.
The lesson learned was do your research and don't qualify on size, qualify on attitude. So coming back to our clients, we qualify on attitude.
Nice.
So if an MSP has a marketing and sales focus, we'll work with them if they're $250,000 or $25 million.
Nice.
What we really try to stay away from the people that say, you know what, I have to do marketing because I have no leads.
Yeah. Tells you something.
Yeah.
So that's great. Cool. Well, that's a good teaser for a chance that we'll have a little after we do this analysis to dig a little deeper into the world you live in and the fun things that you've seen. So that'll be great. So I'm going to just start by sharing my screen with an email I just found recently. So let me show you. I've done lots of emails where there are, Office 365 or other kinds of
This
scams.
kind of looks like an Amazon kind of thing.
Well, in fact, there's the word
there, yeah.
Amazon, right? So it kind of looks like Amazon, but really, actually, one thing I always tell people, and it's interesting in this one, is as a security sort of geek, I have an aversion to turning on preloaded images in an email. When you view an email, you'll hear this on every one of my episodes, right? If you have the setting to turn off loading of images, then your emails look pretty uninteresting. You don't get, the fancy graphics and stuff like that. In fact, sometimes they don't even work. You have to load them to see stuff. But what I first do is say, okay, if I haven't loaded any images, what does this email actually look like? Now, if I had, you might see an Amazon image somewhere that would be a bigger clue. But yeah, in general, I've got a 4-step process. I'm just going to describe to you really quickly. One is called the gut feel garbage check. So you look at it and you say, is this something that I can just discard right away or not, right? And so in this case, it's actually formatted. And myself, when I got this, I looked at it for probably 30 seconds before I said, yeah, this is not something I want to handle. But it did take me a while. So I'll say it passed the gut feel garbage check. So I didn't throw it away right away. Anything in here that you saw immediately, you said it looks like an Amazon order.
Well, so just the formatting of it.
Yeah,
because I guess the Amazon truck comes to my house every day, so I'm used to seeing them.
There you go.
But the other thing, when I looked at it a little bit more, what really threw me off was just the way was the accent above the second A in Amazon.
Exactly. Yeah. So I saw that too. So those are little clues like that we're going to look for when you actually spend a few seconds longer than you normally would to analyze a message. So that was the gut feel garbage check. The next is sender sanity is the next step. So I look at the sender, and one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I mention this in every show as well, is it's okay to click on the sender name in an email. Sometimes in Office or something like that, you can hover over it and you can see, in Outlook or whatever. But in the case of, I'm on a Mac, but also on mobile, you can't always see the email address unless you click on the sender. So we got to get the message across that, it's not poison to touch anything on a suspicious email. It's the links in the body that you don't want to touch. But for our cases, the sender sanity check means let's look at the sender email by clicking on the name and seeing what it comes up as. Well, it's loganhar8564@gmail.com. So that's clearly not Amazon.
Clearly, yeah.
So that's one way that I would toss this message. The next one is what I call link elusiveness. So you look for any of the links in here, and I only see one link. There could be others, but if I hover over this link, view or manage orders. So the target URL or the link target is mail.google.com/mail/u/o. So I have a guess that if I was to click on this, it would probably take you to a Google login page and try to gather your Gmail credentials to see the actual email, which is kind of weird, but maybe that's not what it is, but it is definitely not Amazon. So that's another clue that I would probably use to throw out this message. And then finally, the body believability is my last of the 4 steps. And, it's believable in the sense that it looks like an order, but did I actually order something? Well, these days, I almost always have something on order from Amazon. Not sure. What do you think, Stuart?
I mean, I know what I would look at, Scott, is just looking back, and is what is shown here something that I would have ordered?
Yeah, Apple Gold stainless steel case, right? I didn't even see that until just now, right? It's such a small, tiny thing, right? But I think they're going on the assumption that, if you've got something in transit from Amazon, then you might not even look at what it is.
True. Yeah.
The other useful reason they might have put something like a gold stainless steel watch is you might think, hey, I'm getting a gold steel watch. Somebody paid for it and it's getting shipped to me. Or it might be, somebody ordered a gold steel watch without without, or with
Without telling
my
you.
credit card or
Yeah.
something, right? $690. So anyway, yeah, these are clues. And that's basically what I want to teach people is look at the sender, look at the links, look at the body, just check to make sure it makes sense. And if you can spend an extra 30 seconds looking at an email, then you might avoid getting scammed. So that's the whole process of the can I be phished phishing analysis steps. Any thoughts on that, Stuart?
Well, one of the things that jumped right out of me, Scott, is that, these things are getting better and better all the time. Like you and I been doing this for a number of years. We really had to look at it and see and find these, these steps. Now if you're an MSP and you're going back and looking at all this stuff, it's just, these are things that your clients are not necessarily going to be aware of, because they're not as skilled and experienced as what you are.
Yep.
So it really comes down to you have to show them and educate them like what to look for.
Yeah, it's really all the training that you see, even the top training that you get, will often just say be suspicious of emails you weren't expecting, or check and make sure the links in an email are are proper or whatever, right? But they don't tell you how to analyze those things in any way. And that's what we actually do with ClickArmor. We take you through the steps of looking at sender information, looking at the links, and giving tips on some of the things that a lot of people don't realize. It's one of the things I've learned having taught this for 10 years is we as tech geeks, maybe MSPs, we kind of give users more credit than we should to say, there's no way anybody's going to click on that, or, they should know better. Right. But in reality, they're under a lot of time pressure. They've got emotional issues or moods,
a lot of stuff going on in their
a lot of
personal
stuff
life,
in their
right?
life, and they're not necessarily going to see all those things. But if you've taught them a little bit of a methodology and you can show them in a training program something that they're going to see in the future, when they do see it, they say, oh yeah, I remember this from that stuff. So that's the goal of what we're doing there. So anyway, thanks for helping me analyze that, Stuart. And let's, I'm just going to take a quick pause here for a little infomercial for ClickArmor. If you're like most managers, you're increasingly concerned about employees being targeted with phishing and social engineering attacks that can be very costly. You may have noticed that some static security awareness training programs or phishing assessments just aren't very effective at changing employee behavior. What employees need is a more dynamic and engaging experience that uses proven techniques for accelerating knowledge retention. ClickArmor delivers a better way to engage employees, one that allows them to actually develop and practice real defensive skills in a safe and fun environment. Our gamified phishing and social engineering awareness modules use dynamic learning challenges and simulations to efficiently teach basic skills like analyzing sender information, links, and body content, or learning how to avoid giving information or access to the wrong person. Employees can practice decision-making for risky scenarios in a safe environment and then get immediate feedback and earn points as they compete against their peers. ClickArmor also provides you, the manager, with risk data you've never had before in the form of an employee cyber vulnerability profile. Our flexible, dynamic platform allows for tailoring of any content to your terminology and environment, with monthly challenges available to maintain program momentum. You can try ClickArmor's gamified phishing, social engineering, and working from home modules as a user at no cost. You can also have a free trial organization of your own to see what administrators can do to manage users and content and generate reports. So get started now and learn how you can get immediate results by visiting www.clickarmor.ca/trial. All right, we're back with Stuart again, and Stuart's got a great take on what we just looked at as an email that is an attack from a managed service provider or even an IT team's point of view. What can we do to use that information or that kind of a phishing example to educate end users? So what are your thoughts on that, Stuart?
Well, Scott, I'm going to dumb it down to the most common denominator possible, right? So you and I are on Zoom. We could be using Teams, GoToWebinar, whatever tool you want to use, GoToMeeting. You and I are just recording a very simple conversation. I'm on a iMac with a I don't even have my high-end camera hooked up yet, and we're sharing information. So why I kind of start there is like what you just demoed to me in the previous segment of our show here, what's stopping an MSP from doing something similar to that and using that type of demonstration as a lead? We call it a lead magnet in our world, right? And although I don't like that terminology, that's what most marketers.
That's the marketing term. That's right. Yeah,
it's a marketing term that I'm not a fan of, but that's what we call it. So if you can do something like that and just educate the basic computer user, and use that as a tool to attract people to follow you on on whatever you're doing, put it on your YouTube channel, throw it up on your social media, and educate and show people this kind of stuff, and come back. And I always preach, you really, in today's world, you need to become a beacon of information. So and I have a few clients that do that extremely well. And the trick is producing content like this and then sharing it out, and then using it as a way to attract people to you. And you know what? And you probably, Scott, I don't know how long you've been doing this for, but I've been doing my podcast for 12 years or so now.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, that I didn't have a lot of followers at the beginning.
Right.
And so don't get discouraged when you only have a few views at the beginning. So you just got to keep doing it. But what Scott just demoed to you folks here is a perfect way that you can use the same technology we are, and call it the St. Petersburg Cybersecurity Podcast or something like that, or that and throw it up on your YouTube channel and use. There's all kinds of technologies where we have it on our Ulistic.com website. Is that every time we publish a video now on our YouTube channel, it automatically goes up on our website.
Cool. Yep.
So the technologies exist for that to occur, and and use this as a way to attract people to you.
Yeah.
And
great
and you do it consistently over time, you're going to start building up a following, and that's it's going to take. As Gary Vaynerchuk says, 18 to 24 months of eating garbage in order for you to eat steak. Right?
That's awesome. And hopefully some MSPs are already doing some types of guidance for their users, whether it's a purchased service or, as you said, maybe just some tips on their website. I've seen a lot of that, that they can point people to. But you're absolutely right. It does take a long time. In fact, you mentioned having done a podcast. I started my first podcast in 2009. With a guy named Tom Eston. We started it as the Social Media Security Podcast. And that was, Tom's in Cleveland, and I've never met him personally, but we've done over 100 episodes together. Yeah. And he does a weekly version of the Shared Security Podcast, we call it now. And so we have a monthly version with myself and Tom, and usually maybe sometimes other guests as well. And then Tom does a weekly one, just a 15-minute news wrap, and that's something that MSPs could do as well, right? Tips for their customers on the kinds of problems that they might see that the MSP can help them with. So that podcast has been, going well. It's a fairly focused crowd. We don't have, tens of thousands of downloads, but it's a pretty steady stream of downloads.
250 downloads in a tight niche market is a very good return,
Yep.
One of the things I was going to get at that, Scott, exactly, people are webinared out right now. They're not, and I really hate to bust the bubble of MSP out there. The people are not going to come to your death by PowerPoint cybersecurity webinar where you sit there and talk about all the why you need a managed firewall solution and antivirus. They're not going to come to your VoIP one, and they're not going to come to your business continuity one, but they will tune into a 3 to 5 minute demo of something, and they don't want to come to something now that they have to register for. We're starting to see that across the board. Like registrations for webinars are way down, but views on things like LinkedIn, you can stream video now. I don't know if Zoom does it, but I know Zoom does Facebook and YouTube right now. But you can stream on YouTube, or on LinkedIn now.
You can do live LinkedIn.
You can do live streaming. People what I love about those, and we have a whole LinkedIn service that we do for part of our Ulistic clients. Is what I like about that is now we can have a conversation like this, stream it up to our LinkedIn profile, and now my 11,000 potential followers are going to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So leveraging social media to educate the audience, and then you never know who's going to see it, and you never know who's going to share it, and you never know where that next opportunity is going to come from.
Yep.
People always ask me, Scott, Stuart, how, if I work with Ulistic, can you guarantee me leads? And the only thing I say to them is that the only thing I can guarantee you is if you do nothing, you'll get nothing.
Yeah.
That's on it.
Yeah.
If you do something, you may get something out of it. And I can guarantee you that if you do something, you will get some return.
Yeah.
But I can also strongly guarantee that if you do nothing, you'll get nothing.
Absolutely. Very wise. So yeah, you're right. In fact, I've done a couple of LinkedIn videos, not live, but what I've seen a lot of that I find useful, because I will watch and as you said, a 2 or 3 minute video that's informative. I'll watch, on LinkedIn. And what I see a lot of now that works really well is subtitles. So LinkedIn will autoplay, but it doesn't have the audio on. So you can flip and see a video and you can see the person and you can see the subtitles. You don't have to hear the audio, but there can be really good content in a 2 or 3 minute video. So I've done a couple of those. They're not trivial. They take a little bit of work to do. What I find is getting the subtitles is the hardest part. So I upload to YouTube, do the subtitle synchronization, download the subtitle file, and then convert it and upload it to LinkedIn. So it takes a little while, but it's really worth it. I think there are services that will do it quicker.
Yeah, I do believe there is. I'll tell you this, Scott. Since we're on the topic of video today, I don't know about you, but I watch a lot more YouTube video than I watch regular TV. I think my direct TV now is only so I can watch my beloved Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
On center ice.
Yeah.
I hope you're not a Senators fan.
Well, of course I'm a Senators fan.
So you and I have one disagreement there, because I think I got the center ice packet just so I could watch the Maple Leafs, because we know we're not going to see them in Florida this year.
True.
But I watch a lot more YouTube video now than anything else, and I don't want to unless we're binge watching a television program, I'm watching YouTube video, and I'm watching things on the economy. I'm watching things. I have a passion for precious metal collecting as well, so I'm watching things on that kind of stuff. One of the things I watch a lot of stuff on what I do too as a professional career. So there's a few gentlemen that I follow, one in Toronto, one in Santa Barbara, California, another in Connecticut, that I watch religiously on YouTube, that don't do what I do, but they're not in the same job, in the same industry.
Yep.
And it's remarkable, the business that these guys generate just from consistently doing YouTube, stuff. And I bought a package the other day from one of them that I said, well, this is really cool. If I get this package for it was $200 or something, I bought it. And, let me take it and let me, figure it out. And people are doing that. They're watching educational content on YouTube and then going to your web page or whatever, and and engaging. And if you're not on these platforms doing something, consistently, you have the potential of missing out. And and there is proof, documented proof, that people who are on these social platforms now are getting business. And I know the average managed service provider out there say, well, my clients are on Facebook. Well, I don't know about you, Scott, but I have a Facebook account.
Yeah.
I know lots of people who have Facebook. They don't go on Facebook looking for a cyber security solution.
Yep.
But if they're scrolling through the newsfeed and they see a short 2 or 3 minute video, they may stop and watch it.
Yeah, for sure. It's the personal side of things, right? It's all blending.
You can use this cool stuff in advertising too. Like, you could take your 1.5 minute demo you just did there and put it into a YouTube ad or a Facebook ad, and then do it as an advertisement, and even get more potential views.
Yeah,
cool. And you could demonstrate your expertise, and that could just be the thing that you're doing that your competitors are not doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing I wanted to touch on, which I took note of, you've mentioned a couple of times in your episodes, is you're a fan of They Ask, You Answer.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read that book about a year ago, Marcus Sheridan, and I think it sort of changed my whole view on doing content marketing. And, a lot of what we've done on the ClickArmor website, I wouldn't say we're, doing a great job of it, but we're really getting there. We're starting to answer those questions that are key to the people who want to purchase cybersecurity awareness stuff. But from an MSP point of view, and especially for cyber. Can you think of ideas just off the top of your head that an MSP could say, here are some questions that they should consider trying to answer around cybersecurity?
Well, I think cybersecurity is top of mind of a lot of business professionals. What they I'll back up one step. Here's what I recommend they do. Like, sit down with your top 5, 10 clients, right? And have a heart-to-heart conversation with them and say, look, Scott, from cybersecurity, what keeps you up at night? And I bet you will find that they're not worried about Johnny in accounting clicking on a link on an email.
Mm-hmm.
They're worried about if Johnny in accounting clicks, what happens to their business, right?
Right.
So those are the things we have to address, not the fact that Johnny's going to click on a link. It's what the impact are, and then reverse engineer it back, right?
Right.
So sit down with your top clients and ask them, what keeps you up at night, from a cybersecurity perspective. And I bet you'll find a lot of it's going to be in, either two things: the reputation to their business,
right,
the potential loss of revenue,
yeah,
and those are the two big. If their clients ever find out they had a breach, did their clients go somewhere else?
Yep.
And go to another service provider, the last thing is, how much is it going to cost me to recover, or how much am I going to lose if I have to pay that ransom? I don't know about you. I haven't heard any latest stats, but I don't know what the average ransom in Canada being paid out is. But I bet you it's going to be at least 5 figures.
I heard most recently probably 60 to 80K. It was like, was it two or three Bitcoin? And of course that's going up on a daily basis. So
46,000 as of this morning.
Yeah. So it could be close to the 100K range.
It's another one of my little projects. I'm a small, very small investor in Bitcoin.
I've never taken the plunge.
1/10 of a Bitcoin.
Yeah, I feel like I should buy some just for fun, but I've never had the time.
I tell my investment advisors, I just want a little bit I can't go to Vegas right now, so I want to gamble some other way.
Do it at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, well, that's great. I mean, some really good insights. I think we could talk for a long time. We might have you back again, do another segment. That'd be great. In the meantime, maybe you could share with us, your coordinates, how people can reach you, and anything else you'd like to share that I haven't asked you about.
Sure. So ulistic.com that's our website. We have a live chat. It's on there 24/7. And then, our phone number's on there. But if you wanted to reach out to me directly, if you're in Canada, just call 416-840-9106. 9106 is our 416-840-9106 is our Canadian office number. It rings through to my desk here in Florida. And then if you're in the States, the main number's on our website. We don't advertise a Canadian number because it screws up with our call tracking software. But I don't know how many of your audience is global, but and how much is in Canada, Scott. But we do have some, especially your Canadian MSPs. One of the things that we're very unique for our Canadian MSPs is that we charge in Canadian dollars for our Canadian clients. So
yeah,
unlike a lot of U.S. organizations that make Canadian pay in USD.
Yes, yeah.
Canadian clients, we will provide it in Canadian dollars for them, so they they don't get those surprise.
Yeah.
Bills.
But that's a good policy. Yeah.
And then I just find that us being a Canadian born organization, that's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And so, are you on Twitter or?
I have an account. I don't go on there that often. Yeah. It's too noisy. But yeah, YouTube, I'm on there all the time. LinkedIn and YouTube are my two to me. I have a Facebook account, but again, I keep that personal. I don't. Yeah. I don't use it for work purposes at all. I have kids scattered all over Canada that I got to keep an eye on.
I understand. I got some.
By the way, all known kids too. So
they're all known. Good. Yeah. I have known kids as well across Canada.
I have a daughter. I have a daughter in the Maritimes, a stepson in Ottawa, and 2 in Calgary and 1 in BC. So I got to keep my eye on them all the time. And I have 8 grandchildren I got to keep on top of too. So
wow, that's a big job. Yeah, I've got some international Asia kids to look.
That's why I'm hoping the border opens up soon, because I just had I have 3 grandchildren I yet to meet. Well, 1 is born and 2 are just about to be born. So I have to get back home and visit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks very much, Stuart. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I'd love to come on your show and do some chats about
We'll get
other
that. We'll
stuff.
get that arranged, my friend. You know what? Last thing I'll teach people is before we run off is what you're seeing here is prime. What you should be doing: document versus create. So document other people's journeys and stories, and use them as a way to get you your content created. And that's. I'll leave you with that today.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Stuart.
Thanks,
Pleasure to
Scott.
have you, and thanks everybody for joining in. And we'll talk to you next time.
Stay warm up there, and go Leafs.
Go Leaf. I'll leave that in.